call the meeting to order. Let us salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of members.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Trombley. Here. Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Garrett. She'll be back shortly.
Say here. Say here.
Here.
We would need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meetings, February 9th regular meeting, February 11th budget workshop, and March 2nd budget workshop. Need a second?
Second motion to approve those minutes.
Tom, is there any corrections or additions? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. And now, presentation of petitions, communications, notices, and general question period for members of the community. Does anyone have anything to say? Okay, if not, another report of Nikki Tatro, codes enforcement.
It's been fairly quiet since last month. I went to New York City with the Association of Towns for a week, and this past week I went to Lake Placid for my annual recertification or training. So I'm officially retrained, I guess. There's a few new things to the code that came out this year. Some stuff came out last year, which we have to do. One of them, have to inspect public buildings. So this being a public building, I have to do an inspection here. Other than that, I did talk with Chris Trombley before I left, and I was inquiring as to the availability of some CPR courses, and he informed me that they're having one, I think it's March 16th, next Monday night at the fire station. So I don't know if anyone has any interest in it. I know we had talked before, but we have an AED machine at the town, and like to stay current with it up there, so that's why I'm going to retake the course. But he asked me to put the word out, so.
If he needs mannequins and an AED trainer, let me know. I'm good.
Okay. Other than that, I sent out a couple letters before I left. Slowly they're being resolved. Roof's blowing off. I guess it takes a month to get them fixed, but they're going to fix it. And the house up on Oak Street, I believe he's in the process of getting stamp plans to rebuild that house. So other than that, do you have any questions for me?
Anything new on Spruce Street? 23 Spruce?
Yeah, that's the one with the roof was blowing off. I sent him that notice of violation, and they called here this morning. She left a message saying that some contractors are coming on the 23rd to repair it. She wasn't aware that the roof was leaving, but then the wind blows, the roof leaves there.
Anything new with the building on Main Street? I can't think of the property owner right now.
The yellow building there? No, there's nothing has changed that I know of. I have to send them, again, doing these letters here with these notice of violations. I call them up and I tell them the windows, the doors are open, they come and close them, a week later they're open again. So I don't know if the solution is they're going to have to board up the place, or they have to make it safe so nobody gets in there. Apparently people are getting in there all the time, because why else would the windows and the doors be open on the second floor? So it is a dangerous place. There's no power in there, it's dark, it's cold, whatever. So we're going to work on that. I don't know what's going to happen to that place yet.
So you don't know if it's going to end up being demolished or not? Or?
At this time, I haven't heard anything from the owner saying they were going to demolish it. They either have to make it safe, or we can push them to demolish it.
Or rebuild it to make it
Right.
livable again.
Yeah. They just can't abandon it in place as it is. But as long as they board up the windows where nobody can go in and it's safe, that's the best that we can do. Unless it starts to fall down some more. I gotta wait for it to deteriorate, unfortunately.
How would that apply to that house that's up on the development? The one house that's in the right recedes?
What do you mean?
No,
No one,
there's no one in there. I mean, Do we have?
Horizon Heights is,
Yeah, Horizon Heights.
Right.
Do we?
Yeah, but it's closed up. I mean, it's not been broken into or anything that I know of. As long as it's sealed so people can't get in is the big issue. Once they start breaking into it, well then, you know, we have to push the owners to, they have to make it safe, is the bottom line.
Okay, thanks, Mickey. Now I have my report. I just wanted to say that the damaged water line across Route 9 has been removed. And the other announcement I had is the village elections will be held Wednesday, March 18th here at the village office between the hours of 12 and 9 p.m. Okay, Trustee Trombley?
I have no report this evening.
Trustee Martin?
The only thing I have is to encourage the voters here in the village to come out on the 18th of March and vote.
Thanks, Greg. Trustee Trombley?
no, nothing to report. I'd like to commend the crew for the work they've done out in the cold nights. The water main break on Middle Street, or the sewer problem actually. And then the water problem with the water up and down. I think they did a good job.
Thanks, Tom. Trustee Gary?
Things with the quad are still continuing. We have a meeting in 2 weeks again. We're currently working on a brochure so that everyone can see what is planned and what's going to be happening for our events. So hopefully we'll get that to the printer as soon as possible and we can have some firm details. Also, reviewing the GPS devices and idle time with a large amount of waste and gasoline. In just 2 vehicles out of the 4 with GPSs, the van and the Ford truck, from February 1st to March 8th was a total of, on the van was 10.28 hours, and on the Ford truck, 243.9 hours of idle time. And in calculating out the lost money in idling, it came to $12,200 for an annual loss just on 2 of the vehicles at this rate. We are idling the car for an average of 30 minutes at a time to warm it up. And statistically, if you're running your car idling for more than 10 seconds, you're wasting gasoline. And I copied you with information that I pulled off the internet stating how much is wasted and how they all advocate that it is much better after starting your car 30 seconds to then begin moving it to warm up, because the response that I got when questioning the amount of idle time was, I'm not going to get into a cold vehicle. It's a huge waste and it's a lot of taxpayers' money we can't afford to lose right now. So I think that we either need to put some policy into place as to idle time and leaving the vehicles running, because this is a huge amount of money we could use much more effectively elsewhere. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Amy. We now have the report of the clerk treasurer.
Everyone's been copied with the expense and revenue report for February.
Okay, this time entertain motion to pay the warrant.
We have a few additions to the warrant.
Any additions? Okay.
We have 2 vouchers for the election workers. Marie Dupie and Geraldine Hayes for $37.50 each, come out of 1450.1. We have an invoice for the election ballots. The total amount is $83.50 out of 1450.4. And we have New York State DEC petroleum storage tank permit, $100 fee to come out of 851.10.4.
So moved to accept the warrant with those additions.
And second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried, warrant is approved. We have one purchase requisitions for the new tires for the New Holland backhoe at a cost of $1,320, and we would need to transfer the $1,320 from 85110.4 to 85110.2. Want to make a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion to transfer those funds to pay for the tires for backhoe.
We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We now have the report from the superintendent.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Champlain made a motion to approve the transfer. Did you want it to include paying the warrant?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't word that correctly.
Second.
Yes.
Any discussion on that? Sorry about that.
Not the warrant, they approve the purchase requisitions, okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
All in favor of purchasing the tires and transferring, doing the transfer, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Now I'll have the report from the superintendent.
Yeah, first I'd like to say, Tom, thank you. I'd like to echo your statements regarding the guys. Odd winter this year. It's winding down soon, but it's cold. It's oddly cold. Wind chills bringing it below 0 degrees. And they actually, the sewer line was one big thing, and they really stepped up to the plate again this past Friday for the GSA folks. So good job to the guys. This week we have some training. Actually, this week and next week we have some classes for water and wastewater for credit hours that you have to build throughout your years. So the guys will be attending some of those meetings or training sessions this week. I had a meeting earlier this week with Clinton County regarding the purchase of the salt. We are requested to go through Clinton County for the salt contract, $71 a ton. Not OGS. OGS is going to be above that, probably in the mid-80s to 90s. So the state contract is going to be much higher. And they've worked out a deal for $71 a ton through Clinton County. So we'll work up a letter. Mr. Mayor Moore will have to sign that from the village as requesting for that contract. The Willow Street, there's still that plate of steel there with the cones and stuff. Last week it was still frozen. The ground was still frozen. The asphalt was still pretty hard. We intend to get to that this week, but we're reading water meters, so it's a little challenging. You kind of slide it in there between the classes, reading water meters, and getting out there and getting that done. One other thing I'd like to mention is the fuel farm that we have out back. The EC came today, hence the $100 for the new permit. It's a 5-year permit. We reduced that price from $300 to $100 because we reduced our fuel on hand quantity. We got rid of 500 gallons that we had on hand in the past. So we're smaller. We're down to less than 1,500. But with that said, some of the inspection items fell out of compliance. One is our entire fuel diesel tank does not comply with the DEC regulations. So we'll have to, when we get our letters of notification of our discrepancies, we'll have to act and get rid of these tanks, or that tank at least, and find a solution for an appropriate tank. So that's, the tank was put in 1997, I think, but we haven't had an inspection ever. So instead of having a catastrophic fuel failure, or a fuel spill, and then this big spill and a big cleanup, not being in compliance, it's $37,500 a day per violation. Right now we have 10 violations. So a lot of money.
What's the criteria that failed under? Its age or?
The tank, it's not UL approved, and it's aluminum tank. He said If you take the tank, put it in the back of your dump truck, chain it down, and use it as a fuel farm to go out to job sites and drive around and fill your equipment up, it's fine. But because we're using it as a bulk storage, fuel storage for our facility, it doesn't fit within the compliances. Kind of strange.
What's it have to be?
Steel or double walled fiberglass. There's a whole criteria, but one of the items specifically states aluminum is not an approved material. That was just one of the items, but that was the biggest one.
On the bill for that contract, you know, where it's telling what fee we're gonna pay, I was asking the ladies, you know, because it said a year before 1989 doesn't meet the criteria. So even though we have this tank in 1997, you said it's not a correct tank
Correct.
at all?
We've never been inspected. That's the thing.
Ever, okay.
We had a permit that's now due for renewal, and that's what spawned this whole thing. I started the renewal process, but wanted to make sure we were in compliance.
Who did we get the tank from? Were they okay to sell it to us at that point when it
The-
didn't meet the requirements?
The tank is an old U.S. Army tank that was probably purchased out of some disposition yard in Watertown, I believe.
No, it was it was given to the village, and I went and picked it up down in Elizabethtown.
Oh,
So the tank was free.
you know, U.S. Army on it. So
Okay.
it's been a great deal, and it's been a lot for us till now. But I'd rather get.
So we just acquired it in 1997, it isn't
Right.
built in 19, okay,
Correct. It
That's
wasn't.
fine.
It
Right.
wasn't built. No.
okay. Yeah, we gotta get that corrected.
Yeah, it could. But other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Ian. Juanita, could you read the correspondence for this one?
Correspondence with Champlain Catholic Men's Club to KFC regarding submitting a renewal application for alcoholic beverage retail license. Correspondence with Stafford Owens, Pillar, Murnane, and Trombley regarding Mr. and Mrs. Robert Luckett's property at 36 Pine Street. Letter to William Anderson regarding the building permit application for his property located at 93 Oak Street. Correspondence from Clinton County Health Department regarding a special event in the Tri-County area to discuss the negative impact of chronic diseases. Annual wastewater treatment facility inspection from New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. Correspondence from New York State DEC regarding wastewater panels for local and elected representatives to be held on March 26, 2009 at SUNY Potsdam. PERMA 2008 payroll audit. Correspondence from Earth Science Engineering regarding removal of water main across Great Chazy River on Route 9. Notice of apparent violation to Alvest Development of America for their property located at 23 Spruce Street. Correspondence from New York State DEC regarding Speedy's permit renewal. Correspondence from New York State DEC regarding wastewater treatment facility design, planning, and flow management annual certification form. Correspondence from Clinton County regarding centralized tax database. Correspondence from Chad Foyer regarding sewer issue at his property located at 1141 Main Street.
Thanks, Juanita. The only thing that I had under old business, we probably should send a letter to the town of Chazy. They have requested a shared services agreement for water. I'm not sure if that wasn't covered under the shared services agreements for Clinton County. Maybe we should send them a letter and say, did that address their issue, or do they want to send us something separate? Different agreement. Okay, the only new business that I had is we want to change the date of the April regular monthly meeting from April 13th to April 6th to coincide with the organizational meeting. So we have one meeting that month instead of having one a week later. I don't want to make a motion to combine the two meetings.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Second, Tom. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We'll change the time of our meeting. Did anyone else have any new business that would be brought up?
I'd like to call an executive session to discuss personnel issues, a brief one. So you skipped over old business.
We didn't have anything to act on there. We're gonna bring this, the meter, we're gonna bring up under the budget meeting. We wanna see if we have money for this year, or we're gonna have to do it.
I have a question on the new hire forms. Can I ask it?
Yes, go
The
ahead.
DPW curve. In reviewing it, I just had one question for you, Ian. The part that you filled out on Woody, under to be completed by immediate supervisor, the second page. For his job description, you checked the third one, requires some previous training or experience with some specialization in the department activity. Don't you think that we really should have checked requires thorough training? Because he has to have a wastewater license to be able to do that job, with specialized experience in the department, plus he has to have time worked there. Would that be a more appropriate box to check for approval? Because I think they're gonna throw this back out at us.
I think it's too late, they're already gone, but
They're not gone yet.
well, we can always make a change. I mean, that's the luxury of this site, I guess.
Is that correct in my assumption, though? I mean, that's what I got from it. This is talking about the licensure and requirements for the job.
Seems like you need specialized experience, it needs to be certified
Right.
to run the wastewater plant.
So I just thought that might, cause a problem when we send it down and more of a stall in getting these approved. It won't change, I think, the title that we're trying to get. I just think that for this specific position with being at the wastewater plant, he needs to have the licensing and the specialized experience.
Well, then that would hold true to anyone.
No.
It'd be no different for Larry Sorrell.
Right, for Larry's as well. He has to have that license, but the other guys don't have to have that
If you
license.
carry a D license, you'd have to be specialized. Which is Andres and Lincoln. So it's a good point, you pointed out a good fact.
Okay,
So-
so even if they don't operate it, they have to have those, so we should just probably put that on all of them. But they don't have to have it to do that job. If we have a licensed operator for both of those positions,
Well, in order to work on wastewater or water, like they all have a license or certification to do so, you have
oh, right, they have to have all
You
that.
have to be qualified.
So then should we put that for all of them? What do you
Well,
guys think?
I'm not sure, I'd have to look at that, but the thing that you don't wanna do is like have that
Make it too
apply to
difficult.
somebody that's coming in would
Exactly.
not necessarily have that. The individual, I don't know, are these just for that individual, or are these?
There's a sheet for
generic?
each person.
Yeah, each person has a,
But it's for the job.
It's
Yeah,
not
okay.
specific
Yes,
to the
because-
title, but
Well,
specific
well,
to
you
the
may
job.
end up with a new person, or, anyway,
Pardon?
we'll take a look at that.
My question was, would that be specific to the job, or is this something that's specific to
The
the title
individual.
itself? Yeah, to the individual.
it's tricky. The Public Works maintenance person is a broad spectrum of job title. In that job title, there you can be water or / wastewater operator. And I think you have a good point, and Jeff, you do as well. It's how tight do you want to make the opportunity for anyone else to come into that position? Do you want to make it so tight that, they already have to have a license to come
Well-
work here, or
I think there's a simple solution, all we have to do is call civil service and ask them if this is specific to the individual, or is it,
Right.
are they asking about
Or
the
is it more
position?
general
Like Tom said,
to-
like the title.
Okay.
We'll just ask the question and fix it appropriately.
Sounds good? Thank you.
good question.
So you had a motion you wanted to make, Amy,
Oh, yeah, can I make a motion to go into executive session?
for,
Personnel issue.
okay. Is there a second? The second, Kim,
Yes.
any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we'll adjourn briefly for executive session and come back. Call meeting back to order. Anyone have any additional new business? Not, entertain a meeting, Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, give him a second.
Jinx, thanks.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Regular meeting is adjourned.